Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Sammy and today I am finally going to break down my adjustment of status process and how I was able to adjust my status from a K1 visa status to permanent resident status. So if you're interested in seeing how my process went, please keep watching this video. Alright, so for today's video, I'm going to be sharing the entire process from when I got here, from when I landed here in the US, to when I submitted the documents, to when I did my biometrics, to when I did my interview, to when I got my card. I will be sharing the full timeline, the documents that I submitted, and also what I wish I knew prior to starting the process. Alright, so if you want to know the entire process of what I went through in terms of how I got my K1 visa to move here, then I have videos on my channel currently on the whole process, including the timeline and everything, documents that I submitted. There is a playlist that is linked in the description box, and it is also linked at the end of this video. So if you want to go ahead and check it out, you can go on my channel and you can check out the immigration or migration playlist that I currently have and watch those videos. I'm going to do a quick backstory. Now, I came to the US on a K1 visa last year, and after arriving, I got married within the 90-day window. Okay, so we eloped, and that's how we did our wedding. You don't have to do it that way, but it just ensures that you get married within 90 days of you entering the US. If the 90 days pass and you're not married as it, then there's a possibility that you will have to go back home and start another process or restart the process again. So it is important that you get married within the 90-day window. Now, to ensure, my suggestion to ensure that you do all of that, because 90 days while planning our wedding or small wedding, it was a lot to do within 90 days. So the 90 days sound a lot until you have to go through the planning process and get everything ready to get married and all of that, including paperwork and all of that has to be done before you get married. Now, for me, what I would suggest you to do is, as soon as you get your visa approved, that is once you do your interview at the embassy and it's approved, then have the person, your petitioner who is living in the US, do some research on how or where you're gonna get married, persons that you might need to, there it is a pastor, the judge, whoever, to get married. Because in some states, I know for New Jersey it was a little bit more complicated. We had to make an appointment and all of that, and appointments weren't available until the January, and we had to get married by the December. So make sure someone is doing a research, plan everything prior to you moving here. In terms of the paperwork, go through them, see what documents you're gonna need, all of that stuff to hand in, and start filling out the forms. Leave out information that you might need to have that you're not gonna get until after you get married. You put those information in, but get the process starting. It's gonna help a lot, especially when once you land here, everything will feel so flustery and feel like everything is just, you have so much to do with so little time. So start the process as soon as your visa is approved at the embassy. Now, when it comes to applying for your adjustment of status, the process can feel very overwhelming. It is a lot of documents, but take it step by step in small bite size, and you won't feel so overwhelmed and get frustrated. If you follow my advice, especially when it comes to the documents and filling out the forms, if you take my advice on filling out those forms prior, start filling them out before you get here, it will make the process so much easier. Do the research. You should already have in mind whether you're going to get married in a church or at the court, where you're going to go, which city hall you're going to go to. Research the process of getting your marriage license, because they will not marry you without a marriage license. All of that. Do everything before actually come here, because once you come here, you have to get the ball rolling in terms of ensuring that you set up the wedding and get married and all of that stuff. Here's how the process went. So I arrived in the US on October 5, 2024. Now that was day 1. Your I-94 is going to have your expiration date, so you have to ensure that you get married before the expiration date on your I-94. Within the 90 days, we were able to plan our wedding and everything and get our marriage license. We had to set an appointment to apply for the marriage license, and the date was far out, but we managed to get a date. And once we went in, We did the application for the marriage license and it came to us within a week in the mail. Once you get the marriage license, you're free to get married. No, we were able to go and get married like 2 weeks after getting our marriage license, and so within the 90 days we had our marriage in, and then we got our marriage certificate. I think about a week or two after we got married, that also came in the mail. Now once you get your marriage certificate, then no, you can send off your paperwork once you have everything, if that is the only thing you're waiting on to send off your paperwork, because you can get everything else put together and then just send it off. No, we did not send off our adjustment of status packet until like 3 weeks after we got married. We had to fill out the forms, that is the I-485 form, the work permit. I'm going to put the names of the forms on the screen. I don't really remember it right now, but those are the 3 forms that we filed. Yeah, adjustment of status, or the I-485, the work permit, and the travel. Did I do the travel? No, I didn't do the travel, but you can if you want to, but I didn't. We just never see the necessity for it at the time, right? So we filed 2 forms. Once you have all of the documents ready, make sure say no mistake on the form them. What I did was to fill it out on my computer, and then whatever else that I couldn't fill out on the computer, I use a pen and write it in, use a black ink pen. Ensure that you're making no mistakes, because if there are any markings or cross out or no, then them probably gonna send it back. So just ensure. Another thing to bear in mind is the forms that you're submitting, make sure that it is the most recent edition. All of your documents are right in a way, same with it, but the form is the wrong form. That one has already expired. So ensure that you are downloading the forms from the USCIS site and it is the most recent edition. It's a good upon the form when it's going to be expired or whatever. Just read. You're able to do these things on your own, but you have to read and to pay attention to what it is that you're doing. Now, with adjusting my status, I had to also submit a medical. Now, it's a little tricky. I can only explain for how I did it. I don't know how any other way is done. You might have to do some more research on that. Now, when I did my medical at Andrews in Jamaica, I did a full physical, and I didn't do any blood work or any urine test. Well, I did do some blood work for STDs. Other than that, I didn't do any other blood work. I didn't get vaccinated there either, because I was supposed to get 4 vaccines and Andrews never have 3. So I was like, okay, the doctor was like, you have the choice to wait until you come to the US to get them. If you can get them at Jamaica though, get them, because it's a lot cheaper in Jamaica. It was more expensive here. If you can find a clinic or a private doctor or whomever, do it. Okay, do it at Jamaica and don't opt to do it when you get here, because it's expensive. Either ways, I got them anyways. When I got here, I just went to Walgreens, pay the money, get the shots, and bring it back to the doctor. Do some research, because USCIS only accepts the medical from specific doctors, so you can't go at any doctor. You have to find one who is accredited or certified in doing immigration medical. Make sure say when you Google it, you say immigration medical, and you ask them at the doctor's office if they do immigration medicals as well. That's very important. There's a medical form that has to be filled out by the doctor. Make sure you bring it, or them I go probably have them own copy. For me, my doctor had his own copy. All he did was say, okay, ask me for my name, certain information, and address, all of that phone number, and him write it on the form, and he did all of the filling out. Everything he did himself. I didn't write anything on the form. The only thing I did was to sign and date it, and that was it. Then he came back with it to me sealed. He did tell me don't open it, just send it off in your pocket just as it. So it's sealed, it's stamp up everything, and you're going to send it just as is. Don't open it or look in it or anything, just send it. I filed the work permit and the 485 together. It was cheaper if I was filing both of them together than filing them separately. I didn't get no work permit, so that was a waste of money. So if you are a K1 and you don't have to file for no work permit, don't do it. That's me still. You don't have to. But if you want to, you can. But just feel like I'm gonna waste my money, because yeah, we mailed it off. We get a big envelope, put the stock was about this thick. I didn't take a picture because I was going through it. I was so nervous at this time. Administration changed over, and it was so much mess going on. But the stock was about this thick, I believe. I was sending off in a big envelope and all that. Now, about 7 days after we mailed it, we got a text that from USCIS that they receive it from their lockbox and everything checks out and whatever. That was, we sent it off January 27 or 26, and we got the text about February 3rd or 4th. I don't remember exactly, but somewhere about that. Another week, the first week of February, we got the text that they received it. And after them texts said them receive it, is when the wait game begins. Now the waiting process of this all is where it gets very nerve-wracking. You're waiting. I was checking my app every day. From them text me so them receive it, I was checking the app every single day just to check to see how it's going, and it never moved, it never changed status until the last week in February, I believe, I think, or the third week in February. I don't remember exactly, but it was somewhere mid between there, either the last week or the third week in February, when I checked the case tracker app and it changed, the status changed to biometrics schedule, or we scheduled your biometrics, blah blah blah, something like that. So it was time for me to go and do my biometrics, and it was on my birthday that I had to go to them, send the location, well, sending the mail, everything where every time the status changes on the case tracker, you get something in the mail as well. So when we received the mail with the instructions on what to do with biometrics, it contained the date of the biometrics and also the time and what to bring and everything, all of that. It was on my birthday, which I found was, you know, a little weird that it was on my birthday. But when I got there, there were like 10 other people there with birthdays just like me, so I felt a little bit. So when I went in for my biometrics, I had my fingerprints taken and I took my photo for my green card, and that was it. You just go in, give them the information, certain things, them recheck, like check the spelling of your name, all of that, address, blah blah blah, and then take your fingerprints, take your photo. So after the biometrics was done, there was another wait. No, this is where it got tricky, because I thought that I was going to get my work permit like a week after the biometrics, but to this day I'm gonna get no work permit to this day. I was a little worried about it, but then when we get my green card, I understand. So moving on. So I was waiting like, and then like 2 months passed and I'm like, you know, you're not even see nothing like one, like what's going on. Then it was about May at this point. Around May was when my status changed again, and it changed to interview schedule. You know, I was happy but nervous at the same time, because I said, God, what to expect when you go in the interview. I practiced questions, I watched YouTube video, try to, you know, bear in mind the possible questions they may ask me when we get in camera. So how the place are run at this point, you know, I go in, I expect a drilling when we go in at the interview, you know. But it wasn't bad, so don't worry. So now it's the day of the interview, and my husband and I, we went in, we had a 7 a.m. appointment. We made it in time. We got there, we go through the security checkpoint. It's just like when you go through the embassy of Jamaica. Take off your shoes, take off your bag. The only difference is you're allowed to bring your phone and whatever inside. You're allowed to bring bags and your phone. They're gonna search, like, run your bag through the scanner, run your shoes through the scanner, your phone, all your devices, everything. And then you go up. We went upstairs and we checked in, and we basically waited for our names to be called, for the officer to do our interview. She called us up to the counter at first, and then she asked if I have a driver's license. I told her no, I don't have a US driver's license. That she asked me for my husband's driver's license. She asked if I have any utility bills with my name on it, so I gave that to her. And then she was like, okay, just wait to hear your name again. So we went back to sit down. We sat down and we waited. And then she finally called us and we went in for the interview. I was so nervous, but she was like, oh, you don't have to be nervous, it's okay. Just going to ask you guys a few questions and you'll be out of here in no time. So I was like, okay. She was really nice. Majority of the questions that she asked was to my husband. Any questions that she asked me were questions that were on the form that we filled out. There wasn't any drilling questions or anything. She asked questions about how we met. She asked the date we got married. She asked where we got married. She asked about Haley, if that's our daughter, and I was like, yeah. She asked when she was born. She was born here in Jamaica. those questions. And she was like, okay, everything checks out. And she didn't, at the end of the interview, she didn't tell me if I was approved or not. She explained that, yeah, you will be getting a conditional green card because you guys are married less than 2 years, which is a given. That's the thing with a K1 visa. You're more than likely going to get a conditional green card. So after 2 years, you have to go back to remove the conditions. So basically that was it, and then we left. And I kid you not, the next day when I checked the portal, the status changed to my green card approved, and then my green card came into me like a week after. And I was on a plane to Jamaica in July because I was so excited. The hardest part is getting the paperwork done, gathering the evidences together, make sure you take pictures at your wedding. I know it's weird, but people tend to not want to take pictures. Ensure that you have a copy of your marriage certificate, and you'll need to adjust your status quick and fast, especially in the climate that we're living in now. You don't want to be out of status, so as soon as you get married, send out the paperwork to adjust your status. We also had to do an affidavit, and which was the affidavit you would do like when you go do your K1 visa interview at Jamaica, when you have to have that. Same thing again. So whatever you did first to get the visa in Jamaica, with the affidavit you will do it again when you do your adjustment of status. Same documents, your tax, your IRS tax receipts, and your W2s, your tax, your whatever taxes you file, all of that stuff. However, you want to ensure that you are gathering your evidences for when you go back to remove the conditions, because you will have to do another interview when that time comes around. So the documents you're going to send in with your I-485 adjustment of status application is your passport biographic page, your K1 visa page. So you have to make a copy of the K1 visa in your passport, your entry stamp in the passport, your I-94 records. There's a website that you go on to get that. You're going to also send a copy of your birth certificate, send a copy of your marriage certificate. You are going to also include 2 passport photos. You are going to include your medical exam as well. If you need to do a medical, this is where you're going to include the medical. You're going to send a copy of your approved I-125 petition. So the approval notice, so them send you your I-29F petition was approved. You're going to send a copy of that. For the affidavit of support from your spouse, you're going to send your most recent tax return, your W2 or 1099 forms, your employment letter, pay stubs, proof of US citizenship, whether it is passport or birth certificate. Now for the work permit, you're going to include your passport photos. You're going to also include a copy of your passport plus the visa copy and a copy of your I-94 records. If you're going to send in a advance parole or travel permit application, you're going to also include passport photos for that, and a copy of your I-94 records, a copy of your passport bio page plus visa, and if you traveled before marriage, include proof of emergency travel, etc. Now for the relationship evidence, you're going to include wedding photos, if you're on the joint lease or if you have a joint mortgage, if you have a joint bank account as well, joint bills, screenshots of conversations over the years, photos of trips, and also affidavits from friends, so letters or statements from friends and family stating that they know you guys, they've met your partners, you know, in a real relationship, etc, etc. Remember, when you're going to the interview, ensure that you bring original copies of everything that you've copied. So original copy of birth paper, passport, your partner's passport or birth certificate, original copy of the marriage certificate. Bring the original copies of everything that you send a copy of. Now any notices that they send you or any receipts that they send you, make sure say you keep a copy of them, keep them in a safe place, because these notices are proof you're legally allowed to stay in the US while your adjustment of status is pending. So alright, so thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really hope that this was a help to anybody out there who is adjusting status. This video was long overdue, so it's the perfect time to give the information. Now if you are someone who is going through the K1 process and you have any questions, you can feel free to ask them in the comment section below. And guys, if you're watching this video and you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please maybe gonna hit that subscribe button. If this video was helpful, don't forget to like as well. I will see you guys in my next upload.